When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. An abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal behavior. So live as if you were living already for the second time and as if you had acted the first time as wrongly as you are about to act now. No man should judge unless he asks himself in absolute honesty whether in a similar situation he might not have done the same. I do not forget any good deed done to me, and I do not carry a grudge for a bad one. A man's concern, even his despair, over the worthwhileness of life is an existential distress, but by no means a mental disease. What matters, therefore, is not the meaning of life in general but rather the specific meaning of a person's life at a given moment. What man actually needs is not a tensionless state but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him. Fear makes come true that which one is afraid of. It is not freedom from conditions, but it is freedom to take a stand toward the conditions. There are things which must cause you to lose your reason or you have none to lose. Nothing can be undone, and nothing can be done away with. I should say having been is the surest kind of being. Since Auschwitz, we know what man is capable of. And since Hiroshima, we know what is at stake. Regardless of what happens to you, you can always choose to be grateful by imagining how it could have been worse. It is this spiritual freedom, which cannot be taken away, that makes life meaningful and purposeful. Humor was another of the soul's weapons in the fight for self-preservation. Not every conflict is necessarily neurotic, some amount of conflict is normal and healthy. Ultimately, man should not ask what the meaning of his life is, but rather he must recognize that it is he who is asked. Viktor Frankl quotes on happiness, "It is the very pursuit of happiness that thwarts happiness." Happiness must happen, and the same holds for success. You have to let it happen by not caring about it. Happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. I never would have made it if I could not have laughed. It lifted me momentarily out of this horrible situation, just enough to make it livable. A life of short duration could be so rich in joy and love that it could contain more meaning than a life lasting 80 years. Viktor Frankl quotes on love, "Love is the only sane and satisfactory answer to the problem of human existence." Love goes very far beyond the physical person of the beloved. It finds its deepest meaning in his spiritual being, his inner self. Once hopeless, my life is now hopeful, but it did not happen overnight. Each of us carries a unique spark of the divine, and each of us is also an inseparable part of the web of life. Human kindness can be found in all groups, even those which as a whole it would be easy to condemn. Man is capable of changing the world for the better if possible, and of changing himself for the better if necessary. Man's inner strength may raise him above his outward fate.